Are you ready to smile so big for an entire hour? Oh, this was such a fun conversation. Jacob Massey has been a lifelong student of body and spirit and how they integrate and express together. At a very young age, Jacob became aware of the subtle energetic language that moves through all living things and its pathways through the human body. This naturally led him to the extensive study of movement and energetic healing modalities around the world to further clarify, refine, and share the wisdom and presence accessible to us through the body that he had discovered through his own lived experience. Inquiries that are very much alive in him and his work today are: how can we be fully embodied and connected in this modern world? How can we find healing we did not think was possible before? Get excited. This is such an incredible conversation. Here he is, the amazing Jacob Massey. Okay.
Yeah. What I was gonna say, because I loved what you said, and it was you're like a work in progress. And I feel is like the path of authenticity. It's such a it's not about perfection, right? The path of authenticity is about that continuous student of feeling. So you're a student of feeling continuously. And that for me, I mean, I don't know who's perfected that. So I'm with you. I'm 100% on par, engaging this life. I mean, there's only one criteria. It's like, are you giving it all that you got? Are you meeting the moment with everything you have? And that, I think, that's the goal. Like, it's not like perfection, or like, I got it all. No, I don't suffer. It's like, no, I know that I'm giving every part of myself so fully. And that I have a sneaking suspicion that that's the key to happiness. I think that's what I'm coming to. Only at 35, but I'll see. Check in with me 10 years from now. I'll see what I say. I think it'll be different.
Oh, I don't understand how you could possibly, like, even 10 years ago, you were always dropping so much wisdom and you brought me so much light and
Yeah.
gratitude.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I love that you're still continuing to do this for people in so many different ways. I'm
Mm,
absolutely
yeah.
fascinated. And it is interesting to
Yeah.
think about this. Like, your reflection of me was so sweet. And I'm like, wait, wait, wait.
Mm. Yeah, one of my great teachers said, you can't see thyself in the mirror of thyself. See self in the mirror of thyself. So, you can get like metaphysical or philosophical with this and be like, wow, we really do need each other to see all facets. Like, we do need each other to see the things we need to work on. Like, intimate relationships bring that up deeply. But then we also need each other to see that we are beautiful and we can keep letting that in. So, of course, we can get the outside reflection, but the outside reflection is only a testament of what we need to more embody and feel that within ourselves. Yeah. I
Wow.
wrote something down. I'm always on in insights in reflection inquiry, and it says, insights yearn to be embodied to become what it is. So the moment we're like, oh my God, I'm beautiful, that's the beginning. The next part is how much can we weave that through every muscle and breath? Then it becomes a transmission for every person we come across. And that for me is becoming a beautiful message for the world. So insights yearn to be embodied, to become whole, or to become what it truly is. Yeah.
My face hurts. I'm smiling so big.
That's
Thank
gonna hurt.
thank you, Jacob. It makes so much sense. I feel like
Yeah.
it's so much easier for me to help
Mhm.
others than it is to help myself. Like, why is it that I'm like, you're so beautiful, you're so amazing, you're so awesome. And then when someone
Yeah.
acknowledges me, I'm like, oh no, I don't know.
I I think you got the $1 million question. I don't have an answer to why that began like that, right? So it's like, why did we place our sense of self out there easily without really realizing the closest environment we have is right in the center of our chest? It's like, why did we place our environment of compliments a couple degrees off from us rather than realizing the space that's the closest, which is our breath, which is our body? I don't know. Maybe it was like maybe sometime in history we decided to disconnect from our power and our sovereignty through, I don't know, like feudal systems, kings and queens. I don't know. I don't know
Well,
what it was first.
you explained it though. Like it is really beautiful how I
Yeah,
think that we do need each other. I
yeah,
think that
we
we
do.
survived as a species by
Yeah.
connect, like being able to be there for each other. And so the more we hate each other and rely on others to lift us up, the more we're gonna survive. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
think you just dropped a wisdom bomb yourself. I think that is the, yeah, there, you know, I've had a life of inquiry, a life of going through different mystical traditions, spiritual traditions, and one of the traditions would say God hid a gem inside of ourselves that we can't uncover ourselves, but only through the engagement of life, through the reflection. So maybe in some deep, loving way, that this was all set up. So we had to be intimate with what we see to discover more of who we are. And that, I mean, otherwise, why would we need other? Why would we need this journey of forgetfulness? Because I don't know about you, and I'm curious about you too. So I'm going to ask you questions in this podcast.
We'll
But
see.
oh, it's sweeter to forget and to remember than it is to just be in remembrance. There's something really profound in the story when someone overcomes their limitations, when someone breaks through the obstacle and becomes the best version of themselves, like the underdog that didn't know their power and comes into it. So there's something inherent in the human nature that we admire in that. There's some kind of sense of art and beauty
Oh,
that
yeah.
is woven here. It's woven into this creation.
Oh,
Here,
that's
let me just.
beautiful. That reminds me of just, food is so much more delicious when we've experienced hunger, right? Like the
Right,
top of the mountain is
right,
so much more satisfying once we've like
right,
actually
right,
climbed to get there.
right, right.
It's crazy how our society, I think, is so addicted
Hmm.
to ease and to like everything happening so quickly and like I love this. I love recognizing and appreciating the adversity and being like, "Thank you. Let's make this my I'm having transformational aliveness thanks to this."
Just said it. You said it. And this even comes down to our the chemical makeup in us. When we challenge ourselves and go beyond our edge, we actually have a flood of healing chemicals. So we don't get a flood of healing chemicals by not pushing past our edge and remaining in a, I would say, like in an apathy. We actually feel most alive, most happy, most connected and alive when we push into that edge of our being. And actually that's part of my mission for a lot of people, and to awaken that capacity, that to bring that, I would say, tenacity of pushing your edge to find out who you are. And I find people who don't, unfortunately, start feeling depressed. There's almost like a apathy of their energy, a meaninglessness starts coming upon them. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of uh, points to that issue. And I started a men's group where that is one of the main pillars. So in my men's group, we're helping men to feel purpose and meaning. And I'm finding for men in particular, and I can only imagine for the feminine as well, there has to be a meeting the moment fully and really believing in yourself. That could be for me lifting weights at the gym and going past that last rep I don't want to do, but I do it, and thus my strength increases. Or it would have stayed right there. So it's all there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a lot.
Okay, sure.
But
There's all I know. I know.
I want to unwind all of this and like who is Jacob? I want to properly get
Yeah.
to know you on
Great.
here and have people get to know you. Quickly,
Great.
though, I must say vulnerably and openly that you just transformed a belief that I have around the absolute fear and um
Mm,
resistance I have around loving relationship. I'm like, why is this so scary? And uncomfortable. Like, why is it designed that way? And you're making me realize, like, oh, it's divinely guided to like really, really open us up. I
yeah.
love this so much.
So guided, it gets so specific, it only can take you into your power.
Woo! Okay.
It's
Okay.
so designed, it can only take you home, not away. That's conscious relationship. That's when we're out of victim mentality and we use this life as a mirror to become our best loving selves. So everything becomes grist for the mill. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. That's it.
Jacob. Okay, how the heck? How? Take me back in time. I know
Take
at
me.
some point you were probably the
Yeah.
average dude just trying to, figure out the path of like you were never you came out of the womb spewing all of this genius healing wisdom. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case,
So
but I would love to
I came in on a unicorn. No, yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, my earliest, I have a few early memories that were pretty profound. I did come in as a highly sensitive person, and I love talking about this because it gives people permission to be okay with how much they feel and and what a gem they are for this time in this day and age. So around 4 years old, I remember being highly sensitive. I could see energy around people. I could feel people's thoughts and emotions. Um, I was highly empathic. I still am, but now it's empowered. It's not something that I'm scared of. And I remembered it very young, where I would see an animal or a tree and feel that it's alive, just like me. And that gave me a superpower. I like to say highly sensitive people have a cheat sheet. They know where connection is and where connection's not. So at 4, I remember having that ability. At 7, I had deep abilities running through my body where my body became very alive and I would feel very expansive and very contractive, and I was highly aware of it. And then and I grew up in a very loving, beautiful family. I love my family so much. And then came into the teens, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, baby. And I, you know, forgot everything kind of, but it was always knocking on my door, this capacity of sensing energy and sensing people in the deepest intimate way. Like it's so intimate and personal. Um, then I got out of sex, drugs, rock and roll and started working out and becoming an athlete just to get off of that vibration that felt so low. And it hurt my heart because my heart's like, you're made for more. Like you have a gift. And I believe we can't run away from ourselves. It will always be knocking on the door. So life caught up with me and I embraced it. I embraced my highly sensitive nature and studied with teachers and healers all around the world. I even went into nursing school for some time and I had to leave that for various reasons, which I still have a deep bow to the medical system. And we'll go more into that a little later because I work among doctors and I work alongside doctors. And one of my names there is Mr. Magic Hands, but we'll talk about
Ooh.
yeah, yeah. And at that time, I noticed my abilities coming more online as I lived a sobered life because I had an addiction with drugs and substances, and I wasn't comfortable being my authentic, highly sensitive self without a substance in me. So I became substance free at 17 and dove into who I am. And that brought me into so many relationships of empowerment and guides and mentors, nursing school, um, getting initiated in multiple traditions of spirituality, and my gifts came online more. So what was happening in my early 20s is I would hug someone and feel everything running through them.
Wow.
I mean, I can just look at someone and feel it through my body. I'm like, wow, I do have an on and off switch, but it's mostly on. And when I'd hug someone, I felt the amount of intelligence they held in their body.
Whoa.
So what I mean by that is the term smart body, having a smart body, which means having a body aligned to its deeper intelligence. I felt that with specificity, like down to the minute detail, like where an organ was off,
Whoa.
or what they felt about themselves, where self-love needed to come in more.
Whoa.
Yeah. And
Would
so that came online at around 23, deeply. And maybe it was always there. And then I then I met you later on at the organic garden, and then I started my full-time practice. That brought me to Sedona, Arizona, where I have a full-time practice here. Now, I want to say something part of this journey, which it wasn't all, just rainbows. It was deep. So if you're highly sensitive, yes, I can read out there, but that means I have to feel equally in here. I have to feel equally inside my own sense of self. So where that brought me, I thought it was the most cursed journey ever. Now I can see it's the most blessed, that I had to deal with my own pain and my own disconnection. And in that healing journey, in that sense of not feeling belonging in my body, not feeling at home in myself, I had to deal with that because I could feel it out there, I could feel it here. And it brought me into a very deep journey of trauma and healing it, of self love, self acceptance, which continues today. But heck, have I done a lot of work around that. So, and then, yeah, and where the darkness is, the gift lies. So I went through the dark and that crack, and the light just burst through and said, see, your pain was your gift. And people were like, why are you so happy all the time? I just said, because I went into my pain. I went into the gift. I chose the gift. I didn't choose to like freaking work at Walmart or, do this. I chose to go into the gift. And I really wish that for everyone. Yeah.
My heart, so
So
bursting. Thank you for sharing.
and
I
and now I guide people and walk with people in a very similar way and help people to feel at home in their body and to retrust their body's intelligence, trust their body, trust their knowing. So that's where I bring people. I work with people from as young as 7 years old to, 80s. So
Mm,
yeah,
wow.
yeah,
God, this is the medicine. This is the medicine of the year. Noticing that, or of the lifetime.
yeah,
I love
yeah,
witnessing the pain, the trauma, the
yeah.
that being a superpower, that being the best gift,
Hmm.
that being
Hmm.
oh, fertile ground to alchemize and
Hmm.
yeah, water these beautiful seeds of oh,
Yeah.
love and joy.
It And this is what I think is how we were talking about relationship in the mirror and there's a gift there. We can see it in an empowered way. I also think I don't know why this is so, but it seems like creation or this life of being human was set up in a similar way where we fear the most. Where we fear the most somehow has our greatest power behind it. Um, and I don't know why it's set up that way. I haven't seen it done another way yet. I think it's just an inherent wisdom of life itself is that the more we go into the dark, the more luminous we become. But I'm not saying get lost in the dark. I'm saying shine your heart into where you're afraid
Mm.
and love it and look at who you become on the other side of that fear. Look at who you become on the other side of the pain because that has tremendous medicine, tremendous value for this world. And for me, the body is a map for that process.
This is absolutely essential. I don't think anyone could possibly
Mm,
really be healthy, right? Really be in a healthy place without this foundation of
mm,
exactly what you're talking about, right? Like
mm,
witnessing.
yeah,
And it's just beautiful to hear how clear
mm,
you are with yourself. And like I just
mm,
got off of a patient call where she was so stressed for so many years, right? So many people just they're kind of disassociated and living in this like, oh, this is fine. Like that meme of
yeah,
the dog drinking coffee in the fire.
yeah,
I'm talking
yeah, yeah. Yeah, the house is on fire around him, and he's just like, I forget what he's saying, but he's like, I'm fine, I'm all right, or something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like there's a difference there between like
Yeah.
okay, I feel this discomfort, this pain, like and this
Mm.
is fine versus actually being like wait. What is this trying to teach me? What am I how can I like we
This
have
is the
to
subject. This is the subject. because I think this boils down to this, Katie. It boils down to we're not trusting our body, we're trusting outside sources or the consensus of the culture.
Yes.
We're not taking enough time to ask what the body really is. And I wrote down a definition of body. I love changing the definition of the body is yes, it's a biological process, correct. But it's also a story maker. It's also a script of your health. It's also a reflection of who you are. So if there is pain arising out of the body, it's your most intimate environment giving you information. And for some odd reason, we consented that that is just what it is rather than acknowledging your body is one of the best truth meters, storytellers, vessels of your own, I would say, like liberation, connection, intimacy. And we're not giving it enough credit. So thus we devalue what the body's symptoms are. And I bet you see this in your practice a lot, where someone will devalue themselves because they're too trapped in the mind or what the culture is saying. So they're interacting from here rather than interacting from their full experience,
Yeah.
which is called embodiment. It's not just mind. Your full experience must include your body to be happy,
Yes. This comes up
you
in
know?
so many different ways. So many different ways. Like it
Hmm.
could be the culture um pressure that
Mm,
we should be working harder, faster,
yeah,
blah blah, that pressure. Also, yeah, looking in the mirror, am I skinny enough? Am I strong enough? That whole thing. You
mm,
are I just was teleported to a memory of I think we
yeah.
were watching the sunset and you
Mm,
I don't know. I
remember
think I
that.
was asking you like, "Oh, like what do you work out every day?" I don't know. I think I was asking you something like that. And you were just sitting cross-legged and I think you put your hand on your heart and you closed your eyes and you were smiling and you're like, what does my body want to do today? Like, what does my body want to do?" And I was
Yeah.
so blown away by this response. Like, this was, really early on in and I was teaching fitness classes and I'm like super crazy, crazy. And I was like, wow, what a
Sure.
thought. Like, just asking what your body wants to do.
Uh-huh. I actually create a system out of that. I call well, my friend, I want to give credit to my friend Michelle because I create a system, but I like her wording because I said they're embodied questions. And she goes, what do you mean? You mean in body questions? I was like, in body questions. And I already made the questions for the body, but I like her terminology because we forget to ask our body. We go into shoulds. We
Yes.
go into, I should be at the gym right now when your body's like, I really need to repair and rest. And thus we start having dysfunctions on the organ level, sexual level, or whatever level it is. Um, that starts tipping scales, right? The scale tips because we're not listening. So there's actually there's a deeper boss in reality than what only our mind, and that is the deeper intelligence of nature. It's in the more we reawaken that intelligence through asking our body, how do you feel right now? Do you need more of a certain emotion to help feel healthy? You know,
Interesting. Yeah.
is this workout really impacting me and making me feel more connective, alive, and joyful, or not? Because I want to really make a discernment there because we can work out and it can be challenging and the mind doesn't want to do it, but at the end it creates sustainable. That felt amazing. I feel more connected to myself, I feel more alive, and I feel more joyful rather than a quick desire or a should. Like I was making a video this morning about like the difference between desire and sustainable like intelligence, like the real intelligence and a fleeting desire. So one person's like, yeah, I'm sovereign, my intelligence is saying I want to eat ice cream, and you're like, okay. Now, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong. There's no like, I don't want to be really true here and say there's no right or wrong, but there are consequences. And that's just nature's law. So if you do that and you feel more disconnected through time, your body will rebel. It will. You'll have consequences. But if we tune into the deeper aliveness and we're coming from that true state of our being, the deep feminine is feminine aliveness through the body, we will notice it only creates more self-love, trust, aliveness, and connection. And that's, for me, that's the definition of health, is connection, because that's
And health.
communication.
Yeah.
And communication is how life functions.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's the only real way to properly recover from a workout and to have these things be sustainable, right? Like asking your
Correct.
body, oh my gosh, if you're just going to keep forcing the burnout, right? The overtraining, the compounding of things, of
Mm,
course you're not going to be able to sleep. Of course your hormones are going to be all over the place.
nice.
Of course you're
Yeah.
everything that you're
Yeah.
saying makes absolute perfect sense to me. And it's beautiful
Hmm.
how you articulated it. I have another memory of you, because you're a vegan pastry chef situation, and I think we were at a
Hmm.
birthday party, and you were like we were offered non-vegan, just like regular cupcakes. We were at some birthday. I don't even remember whose it was, but you sat down and you put your hand on your heart, and you're like, this like you're such an incredible yeah, incredible influence on me. But yeah, you sat down, you're like, do I want a cupcake? And you're like, yes, I do. And you enjoyed a cupcake. And this also blew my mind. I was like, oh wow, like he's eating a cupcake. Like this really healthy, embodied, I really looked up to you and I'm like, oh, he's letting himself eat a cupcake. And it just was like totally mind-blowing for me having this be okay and having it be, and this is what I teach my patients too. It's like health,
Hmm.
of course, there's consequences, and it's not
Yeah.
just about eating 100% perfect 100% of the time. It's about
Yeah.
enjoying these experiences,
Yeah.
right? You're not
Yeah.
gonna, it's
Yeah.
healthy to connect. It's healthy to have a dessert now and again. And
Yeah. Yeah. And that could actually be tremendously healing in itself. Just to, I remember one of my teachers said, someone can live a perfect lifestyle with so much judgment, and they'll be so much more unhealthy than someone who has less attack and judgment on themselves, because our thoughts and our restrictions and rigidity can take a toll on the body.
oh yeah,
The stress levels can go so high. And some people are like, but I'm doing everything that is healthy,
right.
but they're beating themselves up day in and day out. And if I were to hug that type of person, if you really would have feel that person in your heart when you hug them, you're gonna feel a sad body. You're not gonna feel a joyful one. And so it's a balance. It definitely is a balance, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Mm,
I teach that a lot
mm,
actually. I call it cognitive
really?
dietary restraint or CDR. If
Oh
uh
wow.
if two
Yeah.
friends go into a party and one is trying to lose weight and has high cognitive dietary restraint, they're in their head the whole time like, oh, look at those cookies, like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And the
Yeah.
one who has low
Yeah.
cognitive dietary restraint, they're just like, oh, sweet cookie. They eat it and they move on and they're happy and they're actually
Yeah.
sustainably like, which one would you rather be, right?
Yeah.
One's healthier.
Yeah. Yeah. And then and this actually boils down to addiction too. It goes into deep waters because the moment we give ourselves permission and we start feeling ourselves and allowing our energy to be what it is part of the acceptance that takes us beyond limited pathways and loops. That we can give ourselves permission from a loving place, we can start rewriting. You can't really rewrite a new pattern without acceptance first,
Hmm.
and that's hard.
Oh, acceptance.
Accept
Acceptance.
self-acceptance, which is the key. That's the key to healing right there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That is like that word has transformed
yeah,
so much over the years for me. Like the
yeah,
profoundness that exists in the word acceptance, like truly being able to actually be accepting. Like let that land. Like,
yeah. Let that one land. And if we're all for listening, like where can you accept? Imagine we can. So you know how we can like see other people's results sometimes more than ourselves. So it's just how our brains are focused or outward a bit. Imagine a child growing up and you're accepting them all the time fully for who they are. Imagine the beautiful foundations that would create for that child. Like we know that intuitively as people who are caring. We're like, yeah, that would be so good for a child. Like the child wouldn't be insecure. They would feel really loved. Um, and turn that on yourself. What if you did that for half a day as a practice? Because
Yeah.
it's hard, And then imagine a full day of like going, you're doing awesome. You're doing great. I love it when you get anxious when you talk to that person. You're so cute. Or you know,
Or at least
or
accepting. Yeah. Just be like, oh, I see that. I fully accept
it's
that about me, about you.
yeah. And
Yeah.
the cool thing about the body, it's a reflection of all of this. So the body, if we're judging ourselves, it's going to start getting tighter. And this is the work I do. I break up the fascia of the story hidden in the body.
Okay, yes, wait. Tell us about, let's connect the loop here. So we got the incredible
Yeah.
magic superpowers of Jacob, which I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
what? Like you have these feelings, you're totally magical human and human. I'm just amazed by you. But anyway, I want to connect the dots with how you're doing this. Tell me about the magic hands. What do you do on the
Okay.
day-to-day? How
Oh,
do you help
cool.
people?
Yeah, let's go into it. Okay. So I started my practice I think in 2018, 2017, 2018, and I decided to put my healing gifts into practice. I like to say I was a reluctant healer. It's not like something I was like, yeah, I want to do this. I was kind of like, who am I to do this?
Mm,
There was a lot of like programming I had to let go of. Like, I'm not a doctor. I went to nursing school, but like, who am I to like help someone through some deep, deep stuff. So I started to just practice on people and just say, hey, like, you know, let's see my dad, and he would have like a knee issue and it would be painful. And I said, Dad, I could take that pain away from your knee if you like. And he'd be like, okay, whatever. He didn't talk like that. He's a beautiful man. But back then he was a little more stubborn. So if he's listening to this, I just want to let you know you were a harder cookie back then, but you're doing awesome. Uh, uh, and I would put my hand on his knee and the pain would go away. Okay. So it
wow.
wasn't like just massage, which I trained in all over the world around massage because I want to learn the art of touch because touch is so healing for us. But I found this ability of this energy running through my hand. I would feel someone and I would communicate. Here's the gift part that I find. I could feel their body speak back to me. So it wasn't just like, oh, I know the muscle, let me release that, do some work around the meniscus. No, it was more like, how are you? And then he was like, hey, I'm feeling emotion right now and I'm hurting. And then I would hold it long enough, alive in my own body, and their aliveness of their body would come and meet me back and would meet in the space of aliveness, sentience. And in that sentience knew exactly what to do to reconnect the knee. And then healing would occur. Okay. So that's how I see. This is the work I do. Yeah. So
Is
let's
everyone
go.
hearing this? Am I like I like want to look around and be like, wait, did that just happen? This is
So
incredible.
yeah.
Thank you for
So
being
this
able to speak to this. Like this is so amazing.
yeah. I had to, I had to learn to articulate it. And I'll tell you why in a minute, because I'd be talking to doctors around the world. I work with a cardiologist who's seen profound results with her clientele. She's a cardiologist out of Boston. And I worked with a couple doctors from Scottsdale too. And they would bring their clients to me. And, a lot of times I would just be a compliment to the Western medicine, which can be so amazing. It just has so many benefits. So I want to say I am a healer. It's just my template that I'm working with this lifetime. But I'm not one of those people who disregards the other side because I see the war go on sometimes, and I'm not that person. I do see benefit to all things. Now, I do acknowledge there's limitations to Western science. There are things that I've helped clientele with that the doctors are still baffled with. I'm interested in that realm because that's where I'm passionate about. So someone would have a heart disease and they had triple bypass surgery and palpitations of the heart, things like that. And I could see energy around their heart that needed to be acknowledged through emotion. and through feeling. And I call emotion is that energy in motion. It's the aliveness of our body, the intelligence. And it would fix and heal. And they would have tremendous results that benefited their time with the doctors, if not stopped needing them to go to the doctor. So I have way too many examples of this realm to not to know that there's something to it. And I want to say I'm trying to prove myself wrong all the time. I'm trying to be like, I don't know. Well, so every time I get a message where someone's like, I'm here, like what the hell? I'm changed. I'm blown away. It's not never old for me. I'm actually always like, oh wow, it worked. Like I'm like, what's
Of course it worked.
yeah,
Oh my gosh. I remember
yeah,
you at the organic garden. You
yeah,
just really you showed me how important it was to connect with
yeah.
people,
Connect. That's the
connect
key.
with our hearts, connect
That's
with
the key.
people.
Yeah.
And it just makes sense to me. I'm curious to hear more, like if these people were able to at all speak to what emotions were in their heart or what emotion was happening in their knee, or if it was really something that was that
Yeah.
subconscious. Like, is this something that
Mm.
because when it
Well,
comes
good
down
question.
to like healing and
Yeah.
it does require, I think it requires this awareness and being seen, and so many of us, these
Mm.
emotions, I think they want to be seen and heard and just expressed, but a lot of us feel
Hmm.
so alone. We, even with our
Hmm.
own bodies, like your dad's knee, I
Hmm.
feel like that just
Hmm.
wanted to be held and you held it,
Yeah.
like,
Exactly.
do you think you could speak
Exactly.
more to that?
Yeah, and this goes into a deep subject. Like, what I think this, the world's working on is to become emotionally literate again. I don't think we're emotionally literate. I think we are we're, how can I say? I think we got developed in one way and we went down that way of the mind really well and we benefited from it, right? There's things that are really great and there's also things that are not so great where it got imbalance and there's disease and maybe imbalance and maybe mental diseases and neuroses. But I think the world, as far as what I've seen working with thousands of people and seeing what's going on around the world, emotional literacy in the ability to feel ourselves, to know what we're feeling, and tend to it seems to be a very abstract subject still.
Yeah.
And so we don't know why we have symptoms. So, like when my wrist hurts, I'm like, stupid wrist work. I, you know,
Yeah, I'm
stupid
laughing, but
wrist.
it's accurate.
Yeah, yeah, right. And it's dumb body. Why aren't you working? Rather than going, hey, Riss, what's the message right now? Um, let's just say like you don't know how to move forward. You're scared to move forward. You, oh wow, oh my God, I'm nervous to move forward. Can I really acknowledge that right now? Yeah, okay, a little cry happens, a little fear comes out, a little grief that I never got to move forward since I was a child. Maybe that I got bullied and then I didn't want to shine as brightly because if I did that, that means I would have to confront the popular people. And then I acknowledged that, and that acknowledgement was the very love and holding of my own awareness and heart self. And then the risk gets better. You see, the body is a script of stories that need to be acknowledged.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Hang on.
Okay,
Oh no.
okay. Let me know if there's anything else I can help you with.
What, did it stop recording?
No, it's still recording, but I think when you said stories, my Siri interrupted you. My Siri jumped in, which what you're talking
Can I
about.
say it again? Can I say it again?
Yeah, yeah,
Or
you
will it interrupt? The body is a script of stories that need to be acknowledged. And that to me is the healing of our limitations, our trauma, but also underneath the story is the greatest joy and intelligence. It's a spiritual experience. The body is a spiritual experience. Once we get down to feeling that deeply, we discover it's a place of connection, joy, love, more love. I made a video the other day on my Instagram. More love that we could, I mean, more indescribable love than we can fathom that we've received. That our body is loving us, and that when we can retrain ourselves to feel back into ourselves, we can discover that, rediscover that. And that's when the body heals. Why do you think adults get more issues than children? It's interesting. I mean, children do too. I want to but it seems that adults seem to not be able to digest a lot of their experiences. We take on roles, facades. We can't let go of trauma. And thus, it really backs up how energy flows in us and thus impacts many processes in us. So I directly work with that in people and in families. I was just in Hawaii, worked with a family on the Big Island. Um, that was fun. But
Amazing.
I directly feel that, work on that with people, and have done tremendous work on myself in that, and continue to do every day.
There's so much I
Yeah.
could say to this. Firstly, the
Yeah.
emotional
Go
intelligence,
ahead.
the emotional literacy.
Yeah.
I think that this is absolutely key. And I think it's funny that Siri, I'm like scared to say it too loud, Siri. I'm not surprised that she interrupted. She's over here like, "Hello, AI is going to take over the world." And the only thing that's differentiating between AI and us is our emotions, our
Yeah.
creative energy that
Yeah.
yeah, I really, really think that this is an absolute essential practice. And
Yeah.
a lot of people maybe are thinking, wow,
Mm.
this is woo-woo, this is crazy, like just get some Advil, your broken wrist, whatever, whatever. I
Sure.
not deny the amount of people that I've worked with and within myself. I
Yeah.
thought I was going blind not too long ago, like literally just a few months ago before I moved to Boulder.
Oh,
I was wearing these crazy big sunglasses. I like couldn't read on my screen. I was like, I am losing my sight.
oh no.
And I just kept saying, I just can't see how any place is gonna be better than Hawaii. Like I didn't know where I was gonna live. I just can't see where I'm supposed to go. I just can't see, blah, 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 blah. And thank goodness my sister had this like crystal oracle deck and it kept coming up like you need to do some
Mhm.
vision work, girl. Like you need to
Yeah.
meditate on your vision. And
Yeah.
it's so true. By the time I got into the eye doctor's office, I had done a lot of meditation around
Mm.
um, the vision for my life, and my eyesight came back. And there's so many things like this. Like, there's so
So
many
yeah,
things like this with my
so
clients.
good.
They're like, oh, my job is a pain in the neck. And then they tell me about how they have a pain in their neck. I'm like, hello, hello.
Yeah.
Like, this is not woo woo. Like,
There's a reason those things got passed down as sayings. And
mm,
and there's nothing wrong with taking Advil besides the fact that it's hard on your liver and there's other things we can talk about. There's
it's
only one
masking it.
problem.
It's masking
I've
your
I've took Advil. I had tooth pain once, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm not going to sleep unless I take some ibuprofen." Now, see, I don't think it's about being dogmatic, and I know people can be that. Energy healers people can be dogmatic, especially on the other side too with allopathic medicine. I think it's about really asking yourself honestly, am I engaging myself honestly?
mm,
Okay, I'm taking Advil, but have I really felt into my symptom and asked questions?
mm,
So I would, and if that person's not ready to dive into more of who they are, because underneath the pain, there's a gift in recapturing, or reclaiming, not recapturing, reclaiming of your sense of self and sovereignty. If that's not your path, that's okay. I'm not here to judge people, but I can tell you the more you reclaim yourself, and that might be going to get surgery to reclaim yourself. Okay, cool. But to reclaim yourself is to be more empowered and connective to yourself and all you meet. And I would even argue it's a really beautiful avenue into sustainable healing, not just symptom correcting. And
sustain.
I'm in the business of sustainable healing, not
Me
symptom
too.
correcting. And the thing about I like to say a good healer puts himself out of business as quickly as possible,
Amen. I love it.
right?
Yeah.
And that's not the capitalistic model in some companies. Let's just say that. It's just not. And if it was, that'd be awesome, but it's not all the time. And but there can be a balance to all of this. And again, I like to see everything as wisdom. So there is a time to take the antidepressants for some people, and there is an avenue and sustainable way out. There's a deeper intelligence here.
Thank you. Yes.
It's yes and. I don't believe in the but or. I believe in yes and. So let's wake up. Let's wake up into all of this. We're in a beautiful exploration that we don't have to wrong anyone. We can be honest. I believe in honesty.
I love this. The amount of
And this is fiery.
right now. I'm so
This
grateful.
is fiery. Like to confront someone. Are you really on? No, I don't want to go there. Okay, good. Okay.
Mm,
But when they do, they will. You can't make a horse drink water.
right.
Yeah, that's crazy. Mhm.
And that's such a tough practice. Like that
It
acceptance,
is.
that acceptance of them, of being like,
Yeah.
okay, fantastic. Like you
Yeah.
can go do this and
Mhm.
like I'm here.
Okay,
I
something on this. What I found, okay, of through and through, one of the best practices, and I say this for everyone listening, one of the best practices I have come across radically is to accept people just as they are. That is the fertile ground for transformation. If I come in with an agenda,
yes.
I am already at war with the intelligence that's meeting me in the first place. But if I come in and I practice myself and get out the triggers I have that they're bringing up in me, because that's a big thing about being a doctor, a nutritionist, a healer, whatever, or a human receiving someone. The moment you're untriggered and do the best you can to get untriggered, it's hard sometimes. It gives their deepest sense of self subconsciously safety automatically. And in that safety, their possibility field opens. And when their possibility field opens, they might be doing something they never would have done because they've been at war for so long and they found someone finally who's not at war with them. And so they can relax more deeply and then possibility opens.
100%.
That's the key. That is like
You
the,
worded that so well. That's what
yeah,
I meant.
that's
That's what I
it.
was trying to say with how the word acceptance has been so profound for me recently. Like,
Mhm.
actually, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's so hard. I care so much as a dietitian. I don't want people to eat all these things and do these things, blah, blah, blah. But if they say like, oh yeah, I celebrated finishing chemo and I went to McDonald's and I had an ice cream cone, like instead of me being triggered, I'm sure that they've
Mhm.
had all these shoulds. Don't do this, don't do that. This is wrong. It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
okay. Like I
Yeah.
such a practice of fully accepting because only in accepting them where they're at and being really like,
Mm,
okay, I see you. Like I actually love that for you.
mm.
I love where you're at and um if you
Oh,
like I'm here. I want to sit with them in that's the only way because then they're like, "Oh, okay."
yeah.
Wow. Like they'll be more receptive rather than
Yeah.
feeling like
Yeah.
this bad thing, this wrong thing. I think that's
Yeah.
talking someone to who's about to jump off a bridge, who's trying to commit suicide. If you're like, stop, don't do that, they're probably like
Good
that's
job.
why, the
Yeah.
resistance there versus being like, hey man, like I
Yeah.
accept
How
you.
you
I
doing?
hear you.
How
Yeah, like
you
I want
how you how you feeling? And then also having the emotional capacity for that person to really share his terror, his fear, and his pain and not flinch because you went that deeply as well. So
right.
it's like, hey, how are you feeling? How you doing? And that very, I mean, that's one of the reasons I do this work. It's because um I'm in the job for life. Like I'm hired by life and to break open with other people and realize and feel them. And I've had friends commit suicide that I couldn't.
Ugh,
Um,
I'm sorry.
yeah, it was a year and a half ago where he moved away and his decision was made and a bit influenced. And I learned a lot from that situation. And I am pro-life in a way. Like I really believe that we have a mission here and a purpose. And if someone wants to take their life, I mean, I don't know the answers. I don't know the ultimate answer, but I do believe that we need more connection and understanding. And maybe something like that might not happen.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not the final choice. Maybe there was deeper things underneath that as
Yeah.
well. And that's again, we're going back and we're circling around how it's all connected to how important it is to be emotionally literate so we can hold space for each other. And space creation for each other creates belonging, and belonging creates safety. Safety creates the gift that can rise through you to realize you're here, why you're here.
Yeah.
It's all connected. It's
Uh,
all connected. That's why the suicide rates went way high up during COVID because we all isolated. And what does isolation do to a tribal species that needs the reflections that we talked about in the beginning?
yeah.
It makes us start feeling more that we can't get that acknowledgement, that witnessing, and that's
I know.
terribly unhealthy.
Yeah, feeling like I need
Yeah,
to escape from this feeling. Like, let me go drink lots of alcohol. Let me go kill myself. Like this feeling,
yeah,
like being seen, like you're saying, being
being
seen
seen.
in this feeling and having that be
Mhm.
okay and understood and related to, and just like, oh my gosh. Oh,
And even bringing this to a deeper level, I have people. I'm in my healing studio right now, talking to you, and bringing people on the table and just touching them with seeing hands
mm,
and watching their body go, oh wow,
mm,
because their body needs to be seen. They need to be felt.
mm-hmm,
I think that's one of the greatest acts of love is to feel someone, to actually feel them.
mm-hmm.
And uh,
Well,
there's a study that when children are, like the first, like, oh, is it the first like 3 months or something? If they're not held, they'll like go into an autoimmune disease. Like they'll
oh yeah.
actually have like tremendous issues, neurological and physiological issues. And it just tells us we need that connection, that acknowledgement, and also acknowledgement on the body basis as well. I mean, I wrote down something. It was really cool. I love this stuff. I'm so dorky.
I love it. I love it so much. Please
It
share it.
was like, it was like, what was it? That's not here, I guess. But it was oh yeah, percentage of nonverbal communication.
Mm,
70 to 93%. You know what that means? We are feeling each other more than we're just getting data, like from our mind's content. We're actually feeling each other. That's how it's important to be here. We're actually listening to the tonality, the breath in someone.
like when someone
The
walks in a room and you're like,
yeah,
ooh, all of a sudden I feel comfortable. All of a sudden I feel excited and happy, or all of a sudden I feel stressed,
anxious
just
or
literally without them saying a word.
correct. So we are more into. I would even argue to say from my experience that we are more body intelligent beings than mentally intelligent beings. I believe it's the body's communication, the mind's interpretation, which a great book is your body is your brain. And it's a phenomenal study on the research of this, that your body's actually communicating before the brain's communicating to you and accessing the data.
Jacob, I hope maybe we'll have to have a part two or something because I do need to get going and I feel like
Yeah, good.
I don't want this to end. You're so awesome. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
could you maybe share how people might be able to reap your benefits? I love what you've been sharing
Yeah,
on
sure.
Instagram and
Yeah. I think if you're linking things to this
yes.
podcast, is that I have a website. It's jmasseyhealing.com. You'll see a bunch of inspiration, my backstory, testimonial pages are really fun to go and look at. I love watching that every day. Also, my Instagram, I'm putting up material every day about this, and it's just getting more and more. It's at Healing into Life. And yeah, you can find all my content, my sharings, testimonials, everything there. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
I love you so much. Okay, everything is linked down below. Oh,
Same.
this was such a expansive, transformative, like this healed me. I'm sure it healed people listening. I'm sure people are like, wow, what the heck just happened? My life has changed forever in the best way. Um, do you wanna
Yeah.
maybe a closing thought? Like how do you feed your power? Is there any last
Oh, I love that question. I saw that on your thing. How I feel my power is wow, there's so many ways. What, we only got like a minute? Let's go for it. Um, the way I feed me specifically is I challenge my limitations daily and I challenge my thinking process around what I'm capable of and how much I love myself. That for me, when it's scary, I do it. when it's scary, I challenge myself of what's possible, and that's giving me so much power and aliveness and being an example for others. That's it. I've had a lot of people say thank you for choosing you and breaking through your obstacles because it's inspiring me to do the same and be the best version of myself. That's how I feed my power. It's both challenging those fears and inspiring other people. I love doing it. So, yeah,
I love
yeah.
you. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you. Thank you.
welcome. So fun, Katie. Thank you so much too, and all the work you do and inspiring others. I've been inspired by equally by you, and I'm gonna eat pasta tonight. You already made an impact. And
Amazing.
I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed connecting with you. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you. How beautiful was that conversation? Please let us both know, how are you being more accepting in this world? How are you inquiring further with whatever struggles, pain points, symptoms you might be experiencing? Let the body's wisdom speak. Yeah. Let us know. The links to Jacob are down below. I really, really hope you follow him. His content is so nourishing and empowering. All right. I love you so much. Keep on accepting, right? Let's go.